What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Flow Show.
Episode 2. We have got some really exciting stuff to share today. One of the things being a card game that we talked about on the first episode, but since we recorded that, we created a prototype and we're going to play it today, along with some other fun stuff that John and I are going to share, like what we've got going on Fridays.
Flow Fridays.
Flow Fridays. What have we been doing on Flow Fridays?
Well, Flow Fridays is a community gathering. So we come together every other Friday in person to share our favorite flow activities and different insights into how we get into flow, because, of course, it's different for each of us. And so it's just a way to get together with our fellow flow fanatics and get into flow, play, dance, and do whatever feels right for that afternoon.
Amazing. And for those of you who don't live in Colorado or can't join us, we want to invite you to play this game with us virtually and allow yourself to get into flow or find flow in ways that serve you.
Well, this card game is a really exciting concept because a lot of what we've been discussing and what we've been reading and learning and really trying to grasp is a bit bland and boring, I think. And we've been really looking to gamify it and make it fun and exciting and keep people engaged. So that's what this is.
Are you saying meditation's boring?
I think meditation is very boring.
It is. It's super hard to sit down and be like, now I'm going to make my mind quiet. Even breath work. I think sitting down to do breath work until I personally had like a really transformative breath work experience, I didn't feel called to sit down and practice it. But I think putting a bunch of techniques that we've found, we call them either primers, flow primers, or unwinders, priming and unwinding. Playing with these different concepts and playing with these different tools, really, they're all tools at the end of the day, provides a more colorful way to maybe get into meditation or mindfulness practices, maybe we call these.
Well, so in our overstimulated society, almost anything that is good for us is a bit boring and loses its draw really quickly. In fact, for a lot of people, you have to force some of this, especially at the beginning. I know I did. And the way that I actually found meditation more interesting was by wearing a heart rate monitor and an audiovisual entrainment device, which we'll get into a little bit later, and really getting into biotech. And they even make headbands called the Muse or the Flow Time headband that read certain brain waves, only a few, and then give you some feedback to train with so that you can calm those brain waves down. Things like that make it a little bit more appealing, but I do find it, it's a discipline, right? A lot of these practices are discipline, which means that you have to force it for a while, maybe forever even. But I do find that if it's fun, then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that and I want more. And the way that I found fun in all of the things that I know I should be doing but can't seem to continue or be consistent at is to really bring in experimentation. Really try to see, okay, like, yes, this discipline is for a reason because there's a process. And that process leads to results. And of course, we want those results. But for me, the process could be so much more experimenting with stacking, which we talked a little bit about last time, or combining different modalities, methodologies, and things like that. And so when I really realized that I needed to do a lot of this stuff daily in order to actually gain performance, creativity, self awareness, and all of the things that come with it, I was like, well, let's really experiment then. And so that was when my best friend Gabriel tells me I should mind map and put it on a wall so it's there in front of me and I can see it. And so that was 2 years ago, and I called that the experiment. And the experiment really was me trying to connect all the dots I could with these different tools, techniques, and technologies that are supposed to help me feel and perform my best or get into flow. And then I just every single day tried to do as many as them as I could. And I found that a lot of them are very synergistic or stack really well together. And so it was easy to combine them. And that's where I started to do the audiovisual entrainment device with my meditations, with HRV breathing, and then immediately start my day with some nootropics and try to play guitar because I was learning it. So it was really difficult. So I tried to do that first thing, and reading and writing and journaling and all of that went into that. And I just started to experiment with different aspects of it. And it was so much more fun and sustainable. And I did it, I challenged myself to do it for 33 days. And this was right before I met you, pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
because then I met you and I asked you what experiments you're running, and you shared some of that with me.
Mm-hmm. And I was actually really inspired by your 33 days. And I took that upon myself to learn drumming. I got a drum and I drummed and I sang every day for 33 days, sometimes in the woods by myself. But it allowed me to gain the confidence to do it in front of people. Any habit, that you can sustain for a long period of time allows you to develop skill and confidence in it to use it. And I think this game really is a toolbox, I would say,
Mm.
for people to experiment and
Mm-hmm.
find what works for them. Because for me, at that time, drumming was like amazing, an
Mm.
amazing way to connect, but that's obviously not going to resonate with everybody. So, drumming is one of the cards in our card game.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, how many cards do we have?
50 or 60 at this point.
Yeah. And we've got 11 that we put together for this first little demo round that we're going to play today. And you guys can play too. We've got this game on our website, lowlabcolab.com. And you can play along with us and see if any of these cards resonate for you. And if you enjoy, if I would like to think that if people find some tools in here that they enjoy, that they can use them over and over. And if they want to keep coming back to the toolkit or the toolbox to draw another random, they can do that also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my brain has to categorize things to really understand it, and I have to understand something to really get behind it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, I can't just accept things at face value. I have to find out for myself through experiencing and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So this card games allows people to also experiment and experience things for themselves and decide for themselves if that is what they would like to do more of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of an introduction to a lot of kind of far out techniques, right? Tools, techniques, and technology is what we're looking for to train with. And what we're actually training is called vagal nerve tone. And this is a difficult one for me to fully describe, but I'm going to try my best because it's really the main theme of the game is
Mm-hmm.
to train vagal nerve tone. So basically, we have the vagus nerve, which connects our brain to all of our organs, especially our heart, our stomach, or our intestines,
Our
um,
gut.
our gut, our lungs, right? So a lot of the main organs, but it really connects to every single organ and gives the feedback whether we should fight or flee, or rest and digest. And so our nervous system really has, our autonomic nervous system really has two modes. One is sympathetic, which is the fight or flight, the arousal, and one is parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. And in order to perform our best, we have to be able to switch back and forth quickly and effectively and not get stuck in one or the other. Because of our overstimulated society, our nervous systems are often overtaxed and stressed chronically. And so that means that we often are in the sympathetic fight or flight section of the nervous system, and we often need to calm down before we can enter a flow state. And this is also for recovery as well. We need to get out of fight or flight. We need to fully relax and release the tension that we've been carrying in order to fully recover on a deep cellular level. So the nervous system seems to be what everyone now is talking about. And there's even something called polyvagal theory that I believe Stephen Porges came up with. And that is an extension of what we already know, but it adds in the freeze and fawn, right? So it's fight, flight, freeze, and even fawn. And that's a different sort of subcategory of the nervous system. And so we won't get too much into it. We're going to try to simplify it. And the way that we understand it best is by priming or arousing, activating, or unwinding, sort of the opposite, and coming down and relaxing, right? And both can be very useful. It just depends on the kind of flow state you want to get into, I suppose. But that's what this card game is based on. So every single technique or practice that is a card in the game can be used to either prime and get yourself ready, or unwind and relax and recover.
Should we play?
Let's play, yeah.
Okay.
Let's demonstrate a little bit.
Yeah.
And actually, this is interesting because we don't fully understand how to use this yet. And so this is the very beginning. Like Kat said, this is a prototype. This is the first version, 1.0. And what we're looking for is feedback from those who would be interested in something like this. We invite you to play with it, try it out in your own way, really, really experiment with it and give feedback, because we want to crowdsource. We want to even crowdfund one day and really collaborate with as many people on this as possible. We've only had a few experiences, such as the Flow Lab we did in February in Costa Rica, where we actually came up with the game or the concept of a game. And now, prototype is out and we're looking for feedback. So go to our website, check it out there, the YouTube channel, our Instagram accounts. We're going to post it everywhere. But yeah, let's give it a go.
Let's play.
Will you describe, because some people are probably listening on Spotify, will you describe what is going on your phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So eventually we would like this to be a physical card game that you would select a card from the deck. Right now, to make this as accessible as possible, I've put it into a digital format. So these cards are represented digitally. We have 11 of them that we're starting with, just for a little, it's like a little, like a taster, teaser.
Well, we're going to start with 11, and then next time we'll
have more.
Put 11 more out and 11 more out.
Yeah.
We'll just keep going up by 11s perhaps.
And so this, basically, it's a video that you can play on your phone if you've ever seen anything like this before. You hit play, and you will just take a screenshot of your phone. Whatever card you end up taking a screenshot of is the card that you have randomly selected.
You can also just pause it if it's
that's true.
If it's a video, you can just press play and pause whenever
Yeah.
you feel. You can, if it's just already running automatically, screenshot is fine. But that would be the way you would draw a card.
Yeah. So maybe some of you have seen this before, but it could be like a little divination thing. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to hit play. And I'm closing my eyes for this.
And it's just scrolling through them really quickly.
Yeah. And screenshot. 4-6 breathing.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So we included 2 different types of breath work in this first iteration. One is to calm you down, and the other is to kind of rev you up. This would be the calming version of 4-6. And Ideally, after you draw a card like this, we'll have a list of all of the different, I guess, explanations of the exercises on our Instagram feeds, but this is also going to be on the website. So you'll be able to go through and see how to perform
Mm-hmm.
this particular task.
Each card will have an instruction
Yeah.
to it. So do you have the instructions written down, or do you just want to explain it?
I can explain it for this,
Okay.
for the sake. So 4-6 breathing is inhaling for a count of 4 and exhaling for a count of 6. What this does is it starts to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system and help calm your nervous system down by exhaling for longer than you're inhaling. And it's been found that inhaling for a count of 4 and exhaling for a count of 6 does that really well. Now, ideally, we want to practice this when we're already in a calm state, almost like training a muscle. So this would be like I'm going to the gym and I want to train my biceps, so I'm going to do bicep curls, right? I want to train my nervous system, so I'm going to practice 4-6. Ideally, you're able to practice this now, so in a time when you feel anxiety or a time when you feel not calm, you can remember, oh, if I just inhale for 4 and exhale for 6 3 times, I'm going to feel better and I'll be able to make a more clear decision.
Mm-hmm. Well, that would be for each person to really find out for themselves.
True.
Through experimentation.
True.
Because again, this is so different for everybody. But ultimately, yeah, it's been proven that when you breathe in, your heart rate speeds up. And when you breathe out, your heart rate slows down. So by extending the exhale, you are telling your autonomic nervous system and your heart rate to slow. And you can reverse that, or you could do something like Wim Hof breathing, which would be activating the sympathetic side of the nervous system, right? Or priming.
Mm-hmm.
So this is more of the unwinding. But should we demonstrate?
Yes.
Okay, so we're just going to do a few rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we could do as much as or as little as we want. Okay, ready?
Yeah, let's do 3 rounds. And for those listening at home, feel free to close your eyes and find a comfortable place to rest. And we'll do some 4-6 breathing. So we're going to inhale for a count of 4. Exhale 6. Inhale 4. Exhale 6. Inhale 4. Exhale 6. Return to normal breathing and just notice your body and how it feels. How do you feel?
Awesome. So there's a few other things going on there that I kind of want to explain.
Yeah,
because
totally.
I'm a total nerd for this kind of stuff.
Let's do it.
And again, I have to understand it to get behind it, right? It has to make sense to my brain before my body fully believes in it, right? So, anyways, 4-6 specifically equals 10, obviously, and 10 seconds per uh, 10 seconds or counts, doesn't have to be seconds, is roughly 6 breaths a minute. And 6 breaths a minute has been shown to be the average HRV breathing, or what they call resonant frequency breathing. And so essentially, when we breathe at about 6 breaths per minute, we are training our heart to sync up with our brain waves. So our heart actually puts out an electromagnetic field as well as our brain, and they can sync up. And that synchronization is called resonance or coherence. But that resonant frequency breathing has been shown to increase heart rate variability, or HRV, which is a marker, a direct link or marker for health, for overall health and wellness.
So we want more heart rate variability.
We absolutely do.
Okay.
So, heart rate variability is the amount of variability between your heartbeats. And so, when they read this on a EKG scan, you have like peaks, and then it goes down, and then a peak again. And those peaks are called R way or R intervals, the space between them, and that is what they look at for variability. And so, you want more variability because when you have low amounts of variability, meaning that your heart rate is beating relatively the same, that means that you are more sympathetic dominant for that moment. So that shows that you are more in the fight or flight, right?
Interesting.
Aroused state.
Okay.
Versus when you have more variability. So when your heart rate varies from beat to beat more, that shows that you are more parasympathetic, rest and digest, or what they call the relaxation response. You are more calm, cool, calm, and collected. And that's
Okay.
what we want for performance.
Okay.
So you want high HRV scores.
Okay.
And this is only relative to each of us. That's the crazy part about this. So your HRV is only relevant to you,
Right.
mine to me, which means that in order to understand even where you're at now and how you can improve it, you have to probably get a heart rate monitor and an HRV tracking app and start to do some research on your own, right? They say research is me search. So essentially you want to start to track something. This is the thing to track, I would say, if you want to gauge where you're starting at and if you're seeing progress with these. This specific breath work was designed to increase HRV because of the 6 breaths per minute. So we've put it as 4-6 breath so that people understand quickly the count, but the name that it's most commonly called would be resonance breathing or HRV breathing.
HRV. Great. And as a yoga instructor and breathwork facilitator, I would probably practice this for at least 3 to 5 minutes. I probably would do more than 3 rounds. 3 rounds, I think, is a nice reset. But as a breathwork practice, I personally would instruct a little bit longer, even if, put on a song or two and breathe or set a timer or something like that.
Yeah. And there's a million ways to do it, right?
Yeah.
So that would be your practice with it.
Yeah.
The book I read on it that I cannot remember the name of, it's Heart, Breath, Mind, I think, something like that.
I remember when you were reading that.
Yeah. All about HRV breathing, an amazing book, but essentially says that if you really want to get the performance benefits, you should do 20 minutes twice a day.
Wow. Okay.
Which could be a lot for some people, but you start small.
Right.
And and then because everybody is different, you want to find your specific HRV breath rate because it's not always 6 breaths a minute. It can vary between 3 and 7, I think, but 6 being like what they've found the average person seems to have as theirs. So you can kind of just go with that, right? But the extended exhale slows the nervous system, right? And together with the inhale, you have higher heart rate variability. So that's the premise behind it. I'd love to do another one.
Yeah, let's do another one.
Yeah. Can I do it?
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay.
And I'm going to toss this to you. Ready?
Yeah. Nice toss. Low activity. Should I toss it back?
Maybe later.
Oh no.
You get into my
I got it.
Okay.
Okay. So we got flashing.
Yeah,
super
flashing.
Cool because it's like I can't quite grasp the images, but they're flashing so fast. I can feel them like it feels like
subliminal messaging.
Subliminal messaging for sure.
Great.
So all right, screenshot. Here we go. I tried to screenshot the way I do on my Samsung and it just closed your screen. How do I do this? How do I screenshot on an iPhone?
It's the volume up button and then the side button.
That's funny. Mine's volume down button inside. That's why. Ooh, your favorite. This is one Kat made sure was in here. The Wonder Game.
Yes, the Wonder Game. Okay, so this is from Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. It's an exercise that he has you do, and I love it because it instantly puts you in the meditative state of the watcher. You start to observe your thoughts. So, should we play?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll guide us through it.
Okay.
So we're gonna again find a comfortable place to sit down.
Check.
Great. Close your eyes. You can also do this standing, but sitting's nice. And close your eyes and start to observe your thoughts. Then say to yourself, I wonder what my next thought is going to be. See if you can observe the thoughts without diving into them, being more curious at what the thoughts are that come up. And see how long you can go between thoughts. Take a big breath in and out. You can play this game as long as you want. Every time a new thought comes in, start again. I wonder what my next thought is going to be. And really, what this does is it trains you to observe your thoughts without attachment. Is one of the things that we practice in meditation and
I believe that's mindfulness.
Mindfulness, yeah.
Minding the mind.
Minding the mind. And finding that sweet spot of space between thoughts. No mind, right? That's another Buddhist technique is no mind. And to ask someone not to think about anything is silly because your mind's job is to think. It's like, don't do your job. But what we really want to do is find that beautiful space where we aren't being consumed by our thoughts and we just are our essence. And that is this beautiful place of akasha or space or presence, right?
Mm-hmm. I love it. Especially because at first I was pretty skeptical when you explained this to me. I go, isn't that just mindfulness? Like, kind of like, aren't we, trying to observe and be mindful all the time as like a ongoing, sort of walking meditation or, an ongoing, like living a meditative life. But to actually have that as a practice is super useful. And I actually really like this framing after we just now did it because I finally understand it, I think, on the level that Eckhart Tolle really was presenting it as. And it provides a curious opportunity to observe. So when I first started meditating, I got frustrated more than I've really been frustrated, I think. Like I remember hitting some extreme levels of frustration. And then it gets even crazy because then you get frustrated at being frustrated. So meditation is very meta, obviously, but it's like when I first started, my mind was so racing, so many thoughts, one after another, one after another, one after another, and I knew the point was to calm and quiet my mind. Nothing works, right? The only thing that seems to work seems to be full acceptance that the mind will not calm. And you give it space and you give it time and it sort of runs its course of thoughts and then it kind of runs out of things to think about at some point. And so you have to almost like wait and sit silently longer than the mind can come up with crap to throw at you.
Yes.
It's so tedious and difficult, right? And I even still struggle with it, which is why when I sit down to meditate, I'll usually start with a breath work or use all kinds of different things because just to sit silently, like, right, we use meditation music. That's a wonderful entrainment tool. But take the music out and you you really get to see what your mind wants to throw at you, which is always the weirdest, most bizarre, useless, like crap.
Right.
Basically, it just pulls it up out of nowhere, and you're swimming in it. You're surrounded by it. But what this practice specifically does is brings in curiosity of, okay, like it's almost like gamifying mindfulness
Yes.
meditation, because instead of just outweighting it and just being like, all right, this is the process, just sit with these thoughts and let them go, let them go, let them go, you go, I wonder what's next. I wonder what else you got for me.
Right. And I think it immediately puts you in a judgment-free zone too, where it's
Mm.
curious. Like, did you hear the fly buzzing around the room when we were being quiet? Like that was like the fly. Started again.
Mhm.
And it's interesting. It's just interesting what pulls your attention, right?
Mhm. Or in how quickly you can get wrapped up in a thought.
Mm.
And I believe the real gem of this practice is realizing you're wrapped up in a thinking.
Mm.
It's that switch,
Hmm.
right? So, yes, we want space between thoughts. We're trying to increase the space without thinking. We're trying to get into our right brain, right? And
Mm.
not think, because it's the left brain that's like constant chatter and interpreting and judging and analyzing everything. But we want to get into that place of just being. However, I found that's just impossible at first. And so what I've started to really pick up on is, and that it gets me excited, is when I catch myself thinking. And my meditation teacher said, when you catch yourself, think of a light switch, turn it off,
Ooh.
boom, off. And then I have a moment of no thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on, and I'm thinking, and I'm in it, and I don't even know how long I've been in it, and I'm thinking about this and this and that, and what am I going to do today, and I have to do this, I want to talk to this person about this thing, and I go, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm sitting and meditating, and I'm thinking. That's not the goal. And so that immediately removes myself from the thinking, and now I'm observing it.
Yeah,
And that switch, I think, is the gem of meditation,
I agree.
right?
Being the watcher,
Mm.
watching the thoughts and not identifying yourself with your thoughts.
But wondering, where are they coming from?
Right?
Whose thoughts are these?
Who's writing this story?
It's freaky stuff, man. When
Right.
you first start meditating, you don't know. It's like, it's worse than dreaming almost. Like dreaming, you wake up and you're like, oh, thank God
I
it
don't
was a
know. Yeah, I don't know
dream.
who that person is thinking all this weird flying
But
stuff.
when you're awake and conscious and that weird stuff comes up at you and you're like, ah, I'm disgusted. That, why would I be thinking about anything like
Right.
that right now? I'm
Right.
supposed to be sitting quietly meditating. And that's where the frustration comes from me. But now I laugh. I find it humorous. I find it hilarious what my brain can come up with,
Yeah.
right? What my left brain can really throw at me.
Mm.
So that's wonderful. So we got a mindfulness practice. Should we do one more?
I feel like we should do one more.
Okay, I want to do them all
Yeah, I
because
know.
it's fun now.
It is fun, isn't it fun? It's fun to play. Like it's really not that serious, and there's no good or bad. There just is the presence of doing it. Like, catch.
No.
Wow.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, we're playing toss, right? That's the flow activity.
Toss a ball is one of the cards. It's not one of the cards in this one.
It's funny because when we first started playing this game, we didn't have a virtual version, so
Yeah.
we had sticky notes.
Yeah.
And then we were like, well, we have to throw something at the sticky notes, try to knock them off. But then you have this wonderful air rocket thing,
Stomp rocket.
stomp rocket,
Spell stomp rocket.
that you can shoot. And so we started shooting it at the sticky notes, and that was how we were selecting them.
Yeah.
Because the goal to do this for what we've found the most fun is to do it randomly.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you can choose these, of course, but that's the part that we find boring and lacking novelty.
Right.
So you want novelty, randomly, blindly select these, or like if you want that divination aspect that you were talking about, let the universe select the one for you that you're supposed to do in that moment.
The universe has decided what this podcast is about today in a weird way. but I also decided because I made the game. So,
exactly.
so meta.
We could get really meta really quick.
Okay, let's do it. Here we go. Random card generator. Go. And select. Gratitude.
Yes. Yes.
This is also my favorite image.
I know. I'm so grateful for the gratitude card.
Me too. I'm grateful for you selecting all these images on that rainy day. Yeah, okay. So this practice, do you want to say what this practice is?
No, you go for it.
Okay.
I got lots to add later.
Okay. So you are going to ideally write down 3 things that you are grateful for. If writing isn't, you're in your car right now or something like that, you can think of the things you're grateful for. The reason I included writing in this is because writing is one of those direct lines, I would say, to our subconscious. When we're writing, that's where we can actually write from our subconscious. We can also impress upon the subconscious with affirmations. So we're going to affirm to our subconscious that we are grateful. So 3 things that you're grateful for right now, and they can be anything.
Or maybe instead of writing them, and again, a big point of playing this game is to play it with other people too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So telling each other, I would say.
Okay.
So maybe we take a moment and then we can share what we're grateful for.
Okay.
Okay, I have mine.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm grateful for friction.
Ooh.
Without going too much into it, friction always comes before flow,
Mm.
which we found out before actually getting into this conversation with this specific podcast and all the last ones actually.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The friction gives flow flavor. The friction is what makes flow worth pursuing. So struggle, friction, resistance, difficulty, all of that is what makes flow and ease and the selflessness, timelessness, effortlessness, richness of flow worth having. Is the opposite. I'm very grateful for friction.
That's so interesting because the first thing that I was grateful for was a very easy morning and a flowy morning because I've had a lot of friction. Sometimes, I have a 5-year-old, and so every morning is different. And today was a very beautiful, easy, flowy, harmonious morning, and it felt beautiful. And so on the opposite end of that, I'm grateful for a flowy morning today.
Nice.
I love it. And it wouldn't feel flowy unless I had so many non-flowy ones to compare it to.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all perspective, isn't it?
It is.
Right. Because if I was in friction right now, I wouldn't be grateful for it. I tell you that right now.
And the goal is to recognize you're in it and then be like, oh yeah, this is friction. So that means flow is next.
Hopefully. Yeah, it's not exactly that easy, but
right.
For sure, to me, the level of friction absolutely equals the level of flow on the other side.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're pursuing something that's like really difficult, or like you're like, oh my God, it'd be so amazing if I had that experience, or I achieved that thing with flow, but you're not there yet, you're in the friction, you're like, oh my God, this is a lot of friction. It often means that flow, when it comes, is going to be one of the best. So that's why I'm thankful for friction. I really am. It helps me understand where I'm at in the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me understand what I need to do. So it's feedback. Friction is feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And it often helps me slow down and center, and then really think about what I need to do to move through the friction. So anyways, let's move on, because we said 3, right?
3, yeah. What else are you grateful for?
My next ones are a little bit easier.
Okay.
I'm grateful for resources, such as a roof over my head, food to eat, safety, security, friends, family. Like, just, I feel well resourced. I don't always, but I do today. And I'm very grateful for my resources that I've been blessed with.
Amazing. I'm grateful for these microphones. also a resource. But I'm really grateful for, okay, maybe not this, but technology allowing us to share this with you guys.
Mm.
And it's more than just this physical thing. It was like saying that, yes, we can do this. And like, yeah, I'm going to buy these and we're going to set them up and we're going to go through all the crap, to figure out how to make this podcast come to life. And to be here sitting with you now doing it and speaking into this glowing microphone. These microphones glow, by the way. Should check out our YouTube. It's super fun. Like, it's what a privilege.
Uh-huh. Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially knowing how much friction we went through to get here.
Yes, this is correct.
Oh my God. Unbelievable amounts of friction, which to me, I knew the whole time. I was like, oh, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be so worth it. It's going to pay off. And here we are. And I'm so happy that you feel we are reaping the rewards of that friction. I do too. Yay.
Hey.
So now I want to go into my spiel about gratitude, if that's okay.
Totally. Do you have one last one?
Was that not 3?
You know, you only told said 2. You're grateful for, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. I'm extremely grateful that it is summer in Colorado right now.
Yeah.
Because winters are harsh. Winters oh, no. No, no.
I know.
No.
It's like July. It's like the end of July.
It's definitely midsummer right now in Colorado. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's warm.
We're super aligned because my third gratitude was the rain that we've been getting in Colorado. We've had no forest fire action up here. It has been wet. It has been green and lush and flowers everywhere. It's been amazing.
It's a wonderful, wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, it's been just epic.
Perhaps the most wonderful time of the year.
It's the most. I'm not going to go there. Okay. Okay. Spiel on gratitude. Okay. Please.
So I read about it this morning, which is why I'm so excited and why I'm so grateful for gratitude. Is because gratitude is one of those things that is now being discussed in almost everything I'm reading around health, wellness, performance, and that be mental health, of course, but also like emotional intelligence, self-awareness, like, oh my God, everything. And that's because from what I read this morning, when you experience feelings of gratitude, and again, you must have the emotion with it. So just to say what you're grateful for is not it. In fact, talking about gratitude like I am right now is very left-brained. Mm-hmm. Trying to make sense and interpret things is the left brain. But when you actually feel gratitude, which is an elevated emotion, so it could be joy, gratitude, excitement, things like that, love, compassion, appreciation, all of that, those are elevated emotions. We want to cultivate those.
I really think that gratitude is the gateway emotion to other elevated emotions.
Wow. I love that. Yeah. That's amazing.
If we can feel that, then we can rise to feel other things that feel good too and celebrate that oneness and experience we have with each other. So I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful that we now have a game that we can share with people if they want to get involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's really amazing how when you're not feeling elevated emotions, you're saying that if you tune into something you're grateful for, even something small, and you can feel that, you can pull on that thread, and that can start to crack the door more for those other emotions to flood in and for your entire mood or even your entire day to shift.
Yes.
I fully agree with that. And I think that's why having a gratitude practice is so important. And this is a really interesting one because everybody has different ways of practicing gratitude. Some people, it's at the dinner table. Other people are praying to the God they believe in. And other people, such as ourselves, are just trying to express it as much as possible to each other. But we would love to hear what other gratitude practices you guys out there have. Please share them with us. That's the point of this game. It's supposed to be collaborative. We would like to co-create the most epic game of all times that really, really intrinsically inspires people to play it ongoing, continuously, because they are a part of it. And so, if this is something that interests you, we really want to invite you to share, to be part of this, to um, to collaborate and co-create with us. So please share what your practices are, whether that's gratitude or anything to sort of downregulate the thinking, hyperactive mind and the stressed out, overstimulated, sympathetic side of your nervous system, and how you relax, unwind, and get into flow. We would love to hear that. We'd love to add your suggestions to our card game and see how you play with them. So feel free to reach out. Like we said, you can find it on our website. We're going to post it on our YouTube channel as well as our social media. So check it out. Try out the prototype that we have out right now. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
And if you want to get involved in person, we're offering Flow Fridays, as John mentioned, every other Friday in Colorado. And we're really excited because we are also taking this journey to New Zealand in November. And we're going to be co creating a really wonderful flow experience with another flow goddess sister of ours who is a surfer, a painter, an artist. And yeah, we're just excited to bring more people into this co creation with us. Um, so if you feel called to join us somewhere really, really cool, please come to New Zealand. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, it is a dream come true to go to New Zealand, especially in November on 11/11/2022. Oh, such a powerful synchronistic date.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be there during that time from November 7 to the 13th. We're going to be flowing every single day, tons of different flow activities, some different workshops. And yeah, we really are setting this up as a flow experience and not a typical retreat because we really don't want people to leave feeling like they got a lot out of it, but ultimately they have to go home and recover. We really want people to have freedom and autonomy to choose what flow activities they do each day. We want people to share what they do and how they get into flow, their flow practices and primers. And so it's a bit of the collab, it's a bit of the flow performance lab, it's a flow experience. And so you're invited to that as well. And then last but not least, we just bought our tickets to Burning Man yesterday.
We're so excited. So if you're going to be on the playa this year, we'd love to flow with you. And we're so excited to connect with more people out there who are in the same mindset as we are about play and freedom and flow and all the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, big part of this is community. Mm-hmm. And if you're connecting with what we're talking about and you're looking for others and you want to find your community, please reach out. Please join us in any way, whether that's online or at a actual event or experience. We'd love to have you and all of the things that you bring into this beautiful space. We're growing our community right now. And so if you're interested at all, please reach out.
We're expanding our offerings. So thank you so much for joining in today and listening. I hope you found the game fun. Please check it out on our website and give us feedback. Let us know what you thought. And we'll see you soon.
Ciao for now.